Hi everyone, welcome to Getup community meeting. I am Matheus, software engineer at Getup, and today we have an agenda to talk about custom checks for Marvin with CEL, right, Common Expression Language. Just remember that this meeting is being recorded and will be available in YouTube later. Okay, so let's start. We already introduced Marvin a few meetings ago, but let's quickly overview again what is Marvin. Okay, so Marvin, it's a command line tool that scans Kubernetes clusters and reports potential misconfigurations and vulnerabilities. So Marvin performs more than 30 built-in checks. These checks, all of them are defined with CEL, Common Expression Language, and these checks are recommended by different frameworks like NSA, MITRE, Kubernetes PSS, Pod Security Standards, and the others. And of course, Marvin also supports custom checks, so you can write your own check with CEL. And this is what we will see today. So it's important to highlight that this feature is the main reason we developed Marvin. So it's a important one, right? So let's go. Let me see. I already have Marvin installed. Marvin version. I have both installations with kubectl plugin and standalone tool. You can check these installations methods here, manually, script, and via query as kubectl plugin. Okay, so Marvin is installed, and the main command to scan your cluster with the built-in checks is just Marvin scan. Okay, so here Marvin scan. Here I already scanned the cluster. I have a kind cluster as example here, and we can see all checks performed and the total resources failed, passed, or skipped. Okay, and in this case we can see that this check failed for 21 resources. It means that these 21 resources are misconfigured. Okay, if we want to see what resources are misconfigured, we can get the YAML output like this: Marvin scan or YAML. Let's use a colorful output. So let's see an example. This one, let's see this one. Okay, so this is an object, right? And so this check failed for all these resources. So all of them are misconfigured and are potential misconfigured, okay? And these other resources are okay. The check passed. Okay, so you can check the resource list for each rule. Okay, so this is the main command, Marvin scan. But we want today to create a custom check. So let's check this. Let's check this session from the README. We can see an example of custom check. All checks and also the custom checks are defined into a YAML file. And first we set severity and a message and identifier as well. Then we need to set which resources will be scanned by this check. Then here we'll write the rule. So this part is the rule. It's a CEL expression. Okay, so if this expression evaluates to false for the resource X, it means that this resource X is misconfigured according this rule. Okay, so let's start by creating a file. I don't have a file, so touch custom check.yaml. Let's edit this file and let's start from this example. Okay, we don't need this second message for now. Here we will write our expression later. And we will write an CEL expression to check the image history. Okay, so allowed histories. Okay, so now we need to write our CEL expression. Let's go. For this, let's use another open source project maintained by Getup. It's the CEL Playground. Kevin already introduced the CEL Playground a few meetings ago. So let's use CEL Playground for this, right? So I forgot to show that I already have two deployments here, Nginx 1 and Nginx 2, each one with 3 replicas, right? And let me show the images. The first one is using an image from Docker Hub, and the second one an image from ChainGuard. Okay, so our check or custom check will check if the deployment, all containers of your deployment have the images from the allowed registries we want. Okay, so let's use ChainGuard registry as an allowed registry. And let's go. So here, let's get a deployment as example in our cluster to use in the CEL Playground. So kubectl get deployment YAML Nginx 1. Okay. Let's copy all the YAML. Okay. Let's paste here. But this deployment must be into a variable called object to simulate the Marvin variables. Okay, so let's define object. Let's do a tab here. Okay, so now we have a variable called object. Now let's test object.metadata.name, Nginx 1. Right. So now we are ready to write our CEL expression. Okay, so the images are defined in containers list inside the pod spec that is inside the deployment spec, right? So let's first get the path for the containers list. So it is object.spec dot template dot spec again spec dot containers. Now we have the containers here, right? So now we will loop the containers with the all function. Each container will be available in the variable C. Then now we can check, for example, all containers c.name nginx. Oops, sorry. Let's see. Okay, true. Just an example, okay? So we are looping the containers. If we change the container name, nginx true, then it's false. And our expression here in the custom check must returns a boolean, right? So we are in the right way here. Okay, so first let's define our allowed registries into an array. So we are instantiating an array. Let's use, for example, my company.com, getup.io, and chain guard history. I forgot, sorry. Here, cgr.dev. Okay. Then, at least one of these registry must be used by the container image. So we have a function called exists. Then allowed registry, right? We are looping these allowed registries. So we have this variable for each one. So the container image starts with allowed registry, right? So let's run the expression. Okay, image. So it's false. But if we try cgr.dev, then it's true. Okay, so our expression is working, right? Let's copy this expression and paste here. Tab. Okay, let's try. Okay, our file is updated and should work. Okay. Now we need to provide to Marvin this custom check. So instead of just Marvin scan, we can provide our custom check with the flag -f. Custom check. And here we can see the custom check being used by Marvin, right? So 3 resources failed and 1 passed. Okay. kubectl gets deployment in all namespaces. We have 4, so it's right. All of them was checked. Okay. now, what is the next step? It's already working. If we want to perform, oops, sorry, only the, let me exit here. Perform only the custom checks, we have also this flag, disable built-in. Then it's easy to test this check first. Okay, but note that we are looking for, looking only for deployments, right? So the best way here is look for all workloads. So we have pods, daemon sets, stateful sets, jobs. We have a lot, right? Let's do this. Here we need to provide all the resources that are considered a workload. Okay, so I will copy from another file, of course. So here, okay, it's all here. Let's see, deployments, pods, daemon sets, all of them here. But for each one, the path to the containers list are different, right? For example, for pods, it's just object spec.containers, okay? For cron job, it is another path. And for this, Marvin provide a variable called all containers, okay? All containers. So it's available to use here. And Marvin knows which kind of resource are a workload and extract the containers and put into variable, so it's easier to write our expression, right? So let's save this file. Let me clean here and let's scan again. Now 20 resources were scanned by this check. Okay, and 5 passed. Right, so what are the 5 passed resources? Let me show you. Oops. In this terminal here. Okay, 1 for Nginx, 1 for deployment, 2 for replica set, and 3, 4, 5 for pods. So 5 is the total. Okay, so yeah, that's it. We already have a custom check for Marvin here, and note that this check, writing with CEL, we can use in different tools. One of the tools, the APIs, is validate admission policy, right? It's a Kubernetes native API. It's already stable in the latest versions. So here, note that it's very similar the way that we write these expressions. But there is a point here. Validate the Kubernetes doesn't provide this variable all containers. Okay, but we can define variables in validate admission policy. Let me show you. Oops. Variables. like this. Then we can set a variable with the same name. So I already have an example that I used in a talk. So this is the variables. We can first define the pod spec variable that is also different, has a different path from each workload. Then we can define all containers. Okay, so this is the same check into validate admission policy. And Marvin is also used in Zora with a plugin. So the same check we can provide here, right? It's the same fields. The only difference is the ID. Instead of an ID like this, we need to provide the identifier as a name, because it's a Kubernetes API, similar to validate admission policy. Okay. So yeah, this is how we can create custom checks with Marvin. The same expression we can use in validate admission policy and Marvin. And Marvin is used by Zora, so it's easier to use CEL expressions here. And that's it. If someone have a question, let me know. And well, the Marvin repository is public, of course. It's an open source project, and any contribution are welcome. Okay? So thank you for your time, and see you in the next meeting. Bye bye.